In this video, we're going to cover the 12 most surprising things that you cannot do with your foster kids. So stay tuned. Welcome to my channel. I am Lucrece Bundy from go.lbundylaw.com, and I am an adoption attorney. I help families finalize their adoptions. I'm so glad that you're here. So in this video, like I said, we're going to cover the 12 most surprising things that you cannot do with your foster kids. If you're new to foster care adoption, or you've been doing this for a while, some of these may surprise you, some of these may not. You know, being a foster parent has its challenges and its joys, of course. And as part of the foster care system, there are some rules that the states have when you're a foster parent. So there's a lot of things that you can do with your own kids that you cannot do with your foster child. So before we get started, if you want the best adoption advice, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to be notified when I post a new video every week. All right, so let's jump right in. The number one most surprising thing that you cannot do with your foster kid is share their pictures or names on any social media platform at all. So this probably makes sense to you, right? Because of the sensitive nature of the reason why the child is in your home. I don't know of any state who allows you as a foster parent to share your foster child's picture or name on any social media platform. That's why you'll see, if you have friends who are foster parent, that's why you'll see a lot of times when they post pictures of their foster kids on social media, they blur out their face and they don't ever put their real name. So that's all across the US, just to protect the identity of these children. That's something that every state requires. So it could be a little hard, especially if you love being on social media, you're on Facebook every day and you're on Instagram and all that kind of stuff, and you love your foster kiddo and obviously you're sharing your life with them. It's hard, right? Because if you're taking a picture and all your kids are in the picture and your foster kid, of course, and you post it, you now have to think twice about, oh, wait a minute. Okay, my foster child is in that picture. I can't do that. I have to blur this out. So it takes a little bit of rewiring if you're used to posting on social media when you're a foster parent. But, you know, it's something that you get used to. The number two most surprising thing that you may learn that you can do with your foster kids is sharing their family history with family and friends. I think that this is by far the hardest one, because when a foster child is in your home, you're so excited to have them, you're taking care of them, and all of your family and your friends are asking you, where did they come from? Why are they in your home? Tell us more. What happened here? What happened there? And you want to tell them, but you cannot, right? Like, you cannot share any of your foster child's family history or any other history for that matter with anyone else who's not involved directly with their case. So obviously you can talk about it with their caseworker, with their agency, and with, you know, attorneys and the guardian ad litem and the people that are, you know, approved to be on the case. But you cannot share that information with family and friends. So again, I think that is the hardest thing to do. I mean, obviously if, you know, you have to take them to the doctor for something, they have to get surgery and your family and friends are asking, hey, like, what's going on? Why did they have to get surgery? You can tell them he's getting brain surgery because of blah, blah, blah. I just mean, like, you can't say, hey, this is why they're in my home. Their mom was abusing drugs and neglected them for 2 years. Their dad has been, you know, you can't give that kind of information. I think that makes sense. The number three thing that you cannot do with your foster kid is letting them go on a sleepover or going to a camp. This is something, again, that may be surprising to you because, again, with your children, if they're old enough to sleep over at their friend's house, you don't think twice about it. But you have to think through, for a foster child, any adult that child is allowed to be around has to be approved and background checked. So even when you become a foster parent, if there's an adult, another adult living in your home, like your brother's living with you or your mom is living with you, all of the people in your home have to be background checked. And, you know, so that agency makes sure that they're safe for that foster child to be around. Now, when it comes to like babysitting and sleepovers, that's a big no-no because the agency doesn't know the place that your child is going to be sleeping over at. Now, the agency usually has families that are ready to babysit. Like if you want to go on a date or go somewhere you just need a break, the agency will provide families for you who are background checked and who are there to babysit foster children. My husband and I have done that before, where we were approved to babysit foster children when foster parents just needed a break. So just remember that those things that are so natural for you as a family to just kind of let your kids do, you cannot do with your foster child. Now, talking about camps, it's the same thing, but they are camps that are approved by a lot of states for foster children to go to. Here in Nebraska, for example, there's a camp called Royal Family Kids Camp and also Teen Rich Adventure Camp. So when the kids are younger, they start with Royal Family Kids Camp, and then as they get to a certain age, they become a teen, then they go into the Teen Rich Adventure Camp. So that camp is actually designed specifically for foster children so that they can have a fun summer experience just like any other kid. My husband and I have had the privilege of being a part of those camps again, and I'm telling you, like, you hang out with those kids even for 4 days. I mean, the camps are really short, they're only 4 days long, and we still carry them in our hearts, even though it's been 2 years. So every year they give these camps, and you know, the children can decide, hey, I want to go to this camp. They let their caseworker know, and then everything else gets arranged for them to go. So if that's something you're interested in, I'm going to put the links in the description below. Go ahead and check out the camps. I know that they're not just in Nebraska, they're in a whole bunch of other states. So they may be in your state as well. So go ahead and check them out. Do you know of any other camps that are specifically geared towards foster children in your state? If you do, will you leave a comment below and let other people know that may be interested? All right, the number 4 thing that you cannot do with your foster kids is cut their hair without permission. I know that seems really silly, like cut their hair, what's the big deal? Well, obviously you can take them to trim their hair, get, hair trimmings and stuff like you would for your kids. But we're talking here about dramatic haircuts that completely change the way that your child looks. For example, like my oldest kid has curly hair, and I've let his hair grow down to his shoulders before. And then one day we decided to cut his hair, and we went super, super short. He looked very different when he got that haircut. So that's what we're talking about. You don't want to do something that's totally dramatic to where, their parents visit them and they're like, wait, this is my kid. But you're allowed to do trimmings, like just normal every few weeks trimming their hair. So if you want to do a dramatic haircut, you need to talk to their caseworker and get approved by the agency to do that. And most of the time, the parents also have to be on board if that's something you want to do. But usually that's something that's reserved for the parents to do. Like if they decide that they want to cut their kids' hair, you want them to do that. And you most of the time don't want the foster parent to make that kind of decision. Okay, so number 5 is you must vaccinate. Okay, I know a lot of families out there are against vaccinations, and that's fine. So if you don't want to vaccinate your children, you don't have to. But if you're going to do foster parenting, you have to vaccinate your foster children. You do not have the choice in that matter. It's state required, it's state rules, and so if you're going to foster, you just have to keep that in mind. There are some things that you may be really against personally that you're still going to have to do for your foster child. Number 6 is enrolling your foster kid in sports, after-school activities, and dangerous sports as well. So for that, again, you're gonna need permission because the agency needs to know where they're going, where you're taking them after school, and also the biological parents need to be on board with it because, again, the whole point of foster care is for the kids to go back home. So when you're adding these kinds of things to the child's life, the parents need to know and approve because they're still a part of their child's life. So dangerous sports, I don't know, think about something where they could get really hurt. Usually the agency won't allow you to enroll the kids in things like ice skating or roller skating, something where they could, fall and get really, really hurt. Usually you should shy away from asking to enroll them in activities like that. But just normal after school activities like soccer and baseball and things like that, you can, you just have to make sure that you get permission. Number 7 is taking your foster child with you on vacation or overseas. It is nearly impossible for you to be able to take your foster child on vacation with you. I used to work for a foster care agency here in Nebraska, and you would not believe the hoops that some of my families had to jump through to try to get their foster kids to go on vacation with them. And what usually happened was the families that were fostering really wanted their foster child to have a normal family experience. So they were thinking, hey, we're going on vacation. We want them to come with us. We don't want to go on vacation with our kids and then leave our foster kid behind, you know, because they felt bad. Like, we don't want them to feel like we don't want them with us. We want to take them with us. But because of the rules and all of the red tape that they had to jump through, most of the time they actually had to leave the foster kid at home. I know, it's so sad. And they would go on vacation without them. There's only one time that I can remember that one of my foster families were able to take their foster child on vacation with them. And even then, it was like, it had to be super short. Like, it was a weekend, it was like 2 hours away. They had to call ahead of time and make sure wherever they were staying was approved. I mean, it was a whole thing. So just remember, if you want to go on vacation and you want to go overseas, most likely you won't be able to take your foster child with you. And, you know, you may have a talk with them and help them understand so that they don't feel like they're being left out. But their caseworker will also talk to them about it. Their agency will also talk to them about it. Because again, it's just to try to keep those kids as safe as possible and to make sure that something doesn't happen to the kid on your watch or even the agency's watch. Number 8 is no co-sleeping is allowed. That probably makes sense to you, right? Like, you don't want any allegations of you doing anything improper with your foster children. So your foster kids cannot co-sleep with each other even. So like, if you have a sibling, if you have foster kids who are siblings, you cannot allow them to co-sleep on the same bed, even if that's something they're used to. And it's just for safety reasons for yourself. And you cannot co-sleep with them. Like, you know, most parents let their children come and cuddle with them in bed in the mornings when they get up, or cuddle with them in their beds before they go to sleep at night. You can't do that with your foster kid, unfortunately. Number 9 is your foster kid cannot call you mom and dad. That may be hard because some of the kids get used to you and they'll want to call you mom and dad because they see you every day, especially the younger kiddos, because they don't really understand the difference. They're more likely to get attached to you a lot quicker, and of course to start calling you mom and dad because you're who they see every day. Even when they visit their parents once a week or twice a week, when things start switching and now they're with you most of the time, they may start calling you mom and dad. So what a lot of agencies will train you to say is, oh man, you know, thank you for wanting to call me that, but this is who your mom is, this is who your dad is. You can call me whatever your first name is, okay? So you can say, you can call me Lucrece or you can call me Auntie Lucrece. And so you want to make sure you nip that in the bud really quick because you don't want to get cross-haired with the biological parents. Number 10 is you cannot let your foster kids get their ears pierced. I know that sounds like, well, of course, duh. But again, you would not believe the kind of situations that I've been a part of when I was working for a foster care agency. Number 11 is you cannot get your foster children birth control or agree for them to perform an abortion, right? So obviously we're talking about foster kids that are older in your care. So this is a really big deal because I actually was involved in a situation like this where the foster family was just really not working with the biological family really well. They wanted to keep this kid in their home and they did not want the kid to go back to their biological family. So they did a lot of things that they were working against reunification with the biological family, even though the biological family was doing everything they could to get their kid back home. And this kid happened to be a teenager and she had issues, and so she didn't want to go home. So she wanted to get birth control and she went to her foster parent because her foster parent was trying to be buddy-buddy with her and told her what she wanted. So the foster parent took her to the doctor and let her get birth control without the biological mom's permission. As you can imagine, that did not go over very well, and that foster family almost lost that placement. So just when it comes to things like that, where it's things that are affecting your foster child's body in a huge way, you don't ever want to be the person who's making that decision, right? If your foster kid comes to you, they trust you, they're coming confidence to you, and they want to do XYZ, you have to let them know from the get-go that you cannot make those decisions for them. You need to talk to the caseworker. The agency has to approve. They need to talk to the guardian ad litem. Like, the whole team needs to know about it. It's not something that you can just decide to go and do for them, no matter how much you feel, you know, compassionate for them and you really want to be there for them. And number 12 is moving out of state with your foster child. So if you are planning on moving out of state, right? Like, let's say you really want to be a foster parent, you are planning on moving out of state here in the next 2 to 3 years, but you want to start the process now and start helping some kiddos out before you move out of state. If you're moving out of state fairly soon, like in a year or so, I would say wait to move out of state and then start going through your foster care training then. Because if you happen to get a kiddo in your home the few months before you have to move out of state, you're gonna have to let them go right before you move, because you can't move out of state with your foster child. And whatever state the case was opened in is where that child has to stay. So you can move them out of state after the parents' rights have been terminated, after you've adopted them, and now you are legally recognized as their parents, then you can do that. But while you're still fostering, you cannot move out of state with your foster child. Now there you have it. Those are the 12 most surprising things that you cannot do with your foster kids. Comment below, let me know which one was the most surprising to you that you found out. Now, if you want more adoption tips like this, you should definitely join my adoption support and resource community. It is a free Facebook group that I just put together a while ago, and it's a community where families like you come together to support each other through the adoption journey. I also hop on there live to answer questions and to give any other adoption tips that you may need, and also provide resources for you along the way to make the adoption journey a little bit easier for you. I will also be bringing in different guests and different speakers to help you also along your adoption journey. So if you're a family who is considering growing through adoption, whether that is newborn adoption or international adoption or foster care adoption or step-parent adoption or really any type of adoption, really consider joining my group. I'm going to put the link to join the group in the description below. So I'll see you there. Now, if you like this video, be sure that you subscribe, okay? And like this video and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. Bye.